Members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force now have some new resources to assist in protecting the borders from illegal activity.
And a commissioning ceremony for 3 of the newest vessels, the HMBS Lawrence Major, HMBS Lignum Vitae, HMBS Cascarilla, and the mobile base for disaster relief, took place at the Joint Alfred Wharf this afternoon.
Now, dozens of dignitaries, including the family of the late Lawrence Major, the nation's leader, Prime Minister Perry Christie, Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Bernard Nottage, and several past commodores of the force were on hand for the ceremony. These latest acquisitions are a continuation of an agreement signed by the government of the Bahamas through the $230 million Sandy Bottom project.
These 3 new vessels bring the number to 7. The remaining 2 will be commissioned in August. Defense Force Public Relations Officer Sub-Lieutenant Desiree Corneille said the new vessels have already been in active duty.
We have 3 vessels. One is the HMBS Lawrence Major, which is our first craft. It's an auxiliary craft. It's roll-on and roll-off. It's extremely important for the Royal Bahamas Defense Force because we do cater to lots of hurricanes and disasters. And so what it means is that we are now able to take another one of the equipment that was commissioned today, which is our 17-piece containerized mobile base, and we are able to take this into whichever area of the Bahamas or our region that has been suffering from any type of disaster, and we're able to take it there, not only to use for our own persons, to house them and to feed them, but we can also do the same thing for the persons. We also have 2 additional vessels in our flora category, which is the Lignum Vitae as well as the Cascarilla, that we've commissioned, and they're going to be used primarily for coastal and coastal patrols, search and rescue.
In other news tonight, the Bahamas Convention Center is now ready to host major conferences as leaders from 48 countries head this way for their Inter-American Development Bank Governors Meeting. Just ahead of that high-level event next month, an official handing over ceremony took place this morning between the People's Republic of China and the Bahamas government. We talked to State Minister for Finance, the Honorable, Michael Halkitis.
Further, it demonstrates the country's ability to host major international meetings, conferences, and conventions, and reinforces the government's commitment to continue to work diligently with the China Exim Bank to complete and open this vital facility to the country's tourism product and, by extension, the national economy. Today, it becomes official. The local organizing committee has undertaken a considerable amount of work in collaboration with the staff of Bahamas in preparing the facility to host this major meeting, and will assume control of the convention center on behalf of the government.
Now, Minister Halkitis says this agreement paves the way for successful hosting of the 2 conferences. He thanked the Chinese ambassador for his government, who through the China Exim Bank is financing the mega resort, for allowing the Bahamas use of the facility for the big events. His Excellency Yuan Jin-sen, speaking through an interpreter, said he was pleased with the agreement.
Bahamas Convention Center is one of the largest convention centers in the Caribbean area, which will provide the new venue and a new opportunity for the Bahamas to host international and regional large-scale meetings and conventions, which will help to promote the economic growth of the Bahamas. Thirdly, the handover of the convention center proved the fact again that as long as the China-Bahamas making the joint effort, working together, we can conquer any hardship and make new progress in the various areas with respect to our cooperation.
The city of Atlanta, Georgia is one of the fastest growing cities in the southeastern United States. It's perhaps one of the reasons why the Ministry of Tourism has left no stone unturned in making its presence felt in the market. Siaska Adderley reports from Atlanta that one of those markets is groups and incentives travel.
Efforts have been intensified by the Ministry of Tourism to attract more groups-based business here in the Bahamas. While in Atlanta this week, officials hosted several meeting and incentive planners to a luncheon to educate the group on what the country has to offer as a destination. General Manager for the Groups Department at the Ministry of Tourism, Bradley Bosfield, stressed the importance of this key sector to a destination like the Bahamas.
We're going very aggressively after the Smurf market, which is the social, military, fraternal, and educational organizations. Also the MEAS market, which is the corporate and planners, meetings and incentives. We're forming partnerships. We're going into their offices and we're teaching them about the islands of the Bahamas.
Meeting and incentive planners are hired by major companies to organize their large meetings and conference events, as well as rewards for top employees in the form of all expense-paid vacations. Experts say travelers who fall into this category are looking for a unique experience with access to amenities. Gwen Thomas and Maddie Logan were among those planners in attendance. Both of them fully endorsed the Bahamas.
I can tell you in satisfaction, it's 95 to 98%. Very few attendees that come to the events are not pleasantly surprised and have a wonderful time. So it's a win-win for the Bahamas, it's a win-win for me, and that's why I'm always looking to be up to date on what is going on down there.
Everybody loves fun and sun destinations for incentives. Everybody wants to go to the beach and do all-inclusive resorts and things like that. So, you know, after doing all of the Caribbean, Mexico, it's really time to look at other places that maybe people don't really think of. And the Bahamas, I think, is a great choice.
Bosfield says it is crucial for tourism stakeholders to do their part to increase business, especially now as offerings are being expanded to accommodate more visitors.
Sometime in the future, we'll have another huge property. The Bahamas property will be open. That's a whole lot of rooms added to our inventory. And we definitely need a group's business in order to ensure that we remain viable, keep those hotels' doors open, and keep all of the vendors on the island, DMC companies, transportation companies, and the like, keep them all busy and occupied, and also increasing and growing their business.
And as tourism officials continue their push in Atlanta, they're also seeking to explore other markets to strengthen the Bahamas' position as a top tourism destination globally. C.S. Scatterly, ZNS Network News.
In other news tonight, 2 police officers involved in the Andrus double murder trial took the stand today, placing on record evidence given during their trip to Central Andrus on Wednesday. During that trip, the officers showed jurors and the entire court the areas where senior immigration officer Shane Gardner and his friend Tishka Brennan met their deaths. That included the pine forest known as Newbold Farm, where Gardner's partly decomposed body was discovered by wild hog hunters in a makeshift rock grave. The court was also shown a 10-foot deep hole nearby where Brennan's body was found. Zintwern Duncombe, Daniel Coakley, James Johnson, and Cordero Saunders are accused of the 2013 killings. The trial continues before Justice Indra Charles.
Also from the courts this Friday, a 31-year-old man accused of tickling a woman awake during a home invasion back in September is one step closer to learning his fate. Prosecutors claim the defendant, Quentin Bethel, broke into the Wellington Street home of a woman during the early morning hours and tickled her feet. When the woman woke up and screamed, Bethel allegedly laughed and ran away. Now, prosecutors in Bethel, who doesn't have a lawyer, will give closing addresses on Monday in a final pitch to jurors. Justice Vera Watkins is presiding over the case.
If you know of a crime, please call Crime Stoppers at 328-8477, toll free 242-300-8477. You can also check them out on www.crimestoppersbahamas.com. Let's stop the crime before it's your time.